Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the webcast today on which AEC collaboration solution is right for you. My name is Jatin. I am an AEC BIM consultant here at A2K Technologies. I've been asked to go through with you a brief overview of the different AEC collaboration options available to you within the Autodesk Construction Cloud environment. We will first start by understanding what the Autodesk Construction Cloud is. From there, we will cover some different options available within this platform, namely Autodesk Docs, BIM Collaborate, and BIM Collaborate Pro. I will give a brief demonstration of each of these products in action by role-playing some simple workflows so you can get an idea of which option you envisage your team using. There will be a short Q&A session at the end, so feel free to jump in with some questions at that stage. But before we get to the main topics, just a brief overview of what A2K Technologies is and does. We are an IT solutions organization that primarily sits within the infrastructure, mining, construction, and manufacturing industries. We help organizations within these industries by delivering complete technology solutions and support services such as consulting and education. Autodesk products, of course, is a part of these said solutions. You may be asking yourself why A2K? Mainly three reasons. We have an excellent ANZ footprint with offices in large parts of Australia and New Zealand. We're actually one of the largest Autodesk partners in the world and considered by businesses we deal with to be a trusted advisor, luckily enough. In addition to Autodesk, we also partner with vendors such as Microsoft, HP, Lenovo, and Unity, and etc. Lastly, because most of us are from the industry, we understand the challenges our clients face, and therefore we can deliver solutions through a combination of experience and innovation. A little bit about me. My name is Jatin Sharma. I have over 7 years experience in the construction industry as a BIM manager, designer, and technical instructor. Currently, my role within A2K is that of an AEC BIM consultant, and my software skills include AutoCAD, Revit, BIM Collaborate Pro, Navisworks, Format, 3ds Max, and Autodesk Build. I actually completed a Bachelor of Science majoring in geology and physics before accidentally stumbling into the building industry, working as a drafty and sort of transitioning into a Revit certified professional. And from there, obviously a BIM consultant, where I am now. Okay, cool, perfect. Now that the introductions are done, we can get into the meat of the webinar. I think it's a good idea to first start by understanding what the Autodesk Construction Cloud is, just so everyone has a good idea before we get into the workflows themselves. I like to think about the Autodesk Construction Cloud as a cloud environment which facilitates a suite of AEC offerings. These offerings connect workflows, teams, and data across the entire project lifecycle. The offerings your organization should utilize is dependent on their role within the AEC project delivery ecosystem. As you can see, these offerings extend beyond the design phase. For more information on the workflows such as plan, build, and operate, I believe we've done a webinar recently a couple days ago called Connected Workflows for those in the field. So you can check that out on the A2K YouTube channel. Our focus today will be on the design phase and the AEC offerings within that phase. So within the Autodesk Construction Cloud, there are 3 offerings which align to the design phase, okay? They are Autodesk Docs, which is available within the AEC Collections, Autodesk BIM Collaborate, and Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro. You can see here that Autodesk Docs is suitable for all project team members, and it allows for document storage in the cloud, document sharing, and document control and process management for CAD and BIM. The Autodesk BIM Collaborate offering is for your design reviewers and consumers. And what it allows them to do is to review and comment on models, check federated models, which have been published in the cloud for any clashes, and create issues from those clashes and assign it back to relevant teams as necessary. The Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro is for your users who are part of the authoring process in these BIM models, which need to be published to the cloud. Okay. It is important to note actually over here that if you go towards the Autodesk BIM Collaborate offering, Autodesk Docs is already available to you and is included. If you get Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro, then both Autodesk Docs and BIM Collaborate offerings are included as part of the license. Okay. Obviously, now that we have a good overall idea of what's available, I think it's a good time we sort of take a deeper dive into each module. So we'll first start off with Autodesk Docs. Okay. Again, this is relevant for all project team members. And what it allows you to do is it's document storage in the cloud, document sharing, and document control and process management for CAD and BIM. Okay, so how does it do this? Let's start with document control. As a common data environment, project teams often rely on a single source of truth to speed up the collaboration process and improve document control. This means that you need to apply a solid folder structure where documents can be published, protecting those folders with permissions, ensuring that data is accessed by the right users at the right time, and never losing access to old document versions when newer versions are released. And again, I will show you an example of this as a live demo as we progress through this webinar. Obviously, speaking of document versions, understanding how project designs change over time is a critical part of the review process. For your information, both 2D PDFs and 3D models are tracked via version comparisons, meaning that any project user that is part of the project can remain informed at all stages of design. You can even compare versions and track versions if you'd like. Okay. And the last big point is document workflows. Obviously, it's very important having a folder structure and permissions within your CDE, but that only goes so far. To enhance this further, we have to use document workflows. Okay, so there's two features in Autodesk Docs that facilitate this. One of them is approvals. Okay, so approvals facilitates the submission of a set of documents to another user, like a design or engineering manager, for their review and approval, so that the documents are fit for use. Approved documents can then be released to other project users, while rejected documents remain as is until they're resolved. And Autodesk Docs has a feature to facilitate this. In addition to that, obviously, there is transmittals, where you can create official digital records that documents are electronically delivered to another user. These documents are typically those that are approved for use, so we can see the transmittals and approvals very much go hand in hand. Okay, and now that we've sort of talked about some of the features, I will show you a couple of them in action within the portal itself. So let's jump into the Autodesk Construction Cloud and take a look. So I've got here in front of me the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, okay? And in there, I am checking out Autodesk Docs. And if I click on this, you can see I'm on Autodesk Docs here. We will get to design, collaboration, and model coordination a little bit later on. Okay, on the left-hand side, we can see some of the different functionality that's available. Okay, and up in front, you can see I've got a folder structure here in place. Now, I've just created one for, for the purpose of this webinar. You can create any folder structure you'd like within Autodesk Docs. There is no limitation. One of the questions that I do get asked a lot is how many projects can I create, and what is is there a size limit to the files that I put into Autodesk Docs? The answer to both questions is no. There is unlimited space both in terms of the files that you upload, so you can upload as many files as you'd like, and you can create as many projects as you would like. There is no restrictions, okay? You can see the number of your projects over here by clicking on this little arrow, okay? And in some projects, you can see the little B sign, okay? The B sign is indicative that it is a BIM 360 project. The projects which have got this little dome sign, okay, is that projects which have been created in the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So you can see it's a unified platform, so you don't have to worry about your old BIM 360 projects being in a separate location. They all stay in the same place. So I've got an example here of some PDFs, okay? And I've got some examples here of some folders. If I click on these three little dots on any of these folders, give it a couple seconds, you should see a permissions button, okay? And if I click on permissions, it allows me to administer who can access any particular folder, okay? You can set permissions by role, by person, or by company. You can see here, I've set permissions by person. It's actually recommended that you set permissions by role. So if you hit the add button here and type in a role, you can set the required permission level. Okay, and that's very important to making sure that only the right people see the appropriate documents. Okay, I'm gonna go back into my architectural folder here, and we've got some PDFs. As you can see under this version column, you can see as some of these PDFs have got a V4. If I click on this V4, you can see here that there's a version history. So you can see V1 was uploaded in April 14, 2021, and the latest one is April 22nd, 2021. Okay, and I can make any older version, I can actually make it current if I want to. Okay, I can even compare versions if I'd like as well. Okay, so this is all sitting in within Docs available for you. This is really, really useful, as particularly if you're collaborating within your own organization and you're just trying to have a bit of a folder structure and document control in place. You know, within your own ecosystem. And obviously this can be expanded further to other organizations as well that you may be collaborating with. You'll see on the left-hand side, there is a reviews functionality. If I click on this, okay, you can see here that you can hit the create review. Okay, so this is the process you go through if you want to start a new review. Okay, so if I hit create review, it will go to my project files. I can find the files that I want to be part of the review process that's sitting in the cloud, and I can hit create and start the review process. If for whatever reason I'm not happy with the current review process that's in place, I can hit this little settings button, okay? And I can create my own approval workflow. Just bear in mind, only project admins can do this. So not project members, only project admins. Okay, so you can hit create approval workflow, and there are some preset approval workflow templates which are available to you. So for example, if I click on, you know, two-step approval, you can see here, it gives you a bit of a description. The two-step approval workflow allows you to route files through a review step and approve step, and then you can choose a destination folder for approved files. So in layman terms, what this is doing is this is going to say, hey, let me know what files I need to be a part of the review process. Once you initiate the review, we will send it to the appropriate reviewer. They will press the tick or a cross button. If they press the tick button, we will then publish to a destination folder because they are now considered to be approved files, okay? If they have been rejected, then they don't get published to a destination folder, okay? So that's how the approval workflow sort of functionality within Autodesk Docs works. Similarly, you've got transmittals. So if I click on transmittals, you can see here, we've got a create transmittal button. If I click on this, it's again, very straightforward. You go into your project files, click on the folders that you want. Just going to go to published here to architecture. You can see, you can choose 2 or 3 PDFs and you can hit create. From there, you can start a transmittal workflow. Okay. If we jump back into files, there's just 1 or 2 more things I want to show you, and then we can obviously move ahead. You may have noticed that if I go back to this published here, if I go to architectural, that some of these PDFs, this little crown is available. What that means is you can actually click on any one of these PDFs. So for example, let's say I choose this one. It's going to open it up. Okay. What this means is once I've got it up and running, hopefully, there we go. You can now go ahead and view them as necessary. Okay. You can go ahead and even use these little tools here on the right-hand side to mark them up. Okay, so you can, if I wanted to draw a cloud here, I can draw another cloud here, and I can hit the edit button or I can hit the publish button. So I can create markups, and I can actually assign these markups back to individual users that are part of the project and say, hey, something needs to be changed, it's not quite right. I can create issues if I'd like as well. And I can even, if I want to, hit the little measuring tool. Okay. So all the stuff is available to you within Autodesk Docs. And if you hit this little button up here, that's the compare button. Okay. Now, the final thing I want to show you as far as Autodesk Docs is concerned is that if you click on any one of these PDFs and you click on these 3 little dots, there is a share button. Okay. Now, if I click on the share button, you can either share with project members with a view-only access or higher, but you can also click on share with anyone with a link, and you can give that link an expiry date, okay? And you can put in a recipient that may not be a part of this project. So anyone who has this link will be able to view that file. Okay, so you can either choose email or you can choose link if you wanted to. So that's a very nice functionality. So kind of works as effectively as a more high-powered Dropbox if you wanted to as well. Okay. Now, obviously, I've just shown you PDFs, but the real pizzazz here is being able to work with an actual Revit files and CAD files. So you can upload, about 50 to 60 different file formats within Autodesk Docs. But PDFs is just a nice, easy way of showing you the functionality that's available. Okay, now let's jump back to our PowerPoint. Okay, the next workflow option that's available to you is the BIM Collaborate offering. Okay, so the BIM Collaborate offering is for your design reviewers and consumers who want to review and comment on models. Okay, check federated models which have been published in the cloud for any clashes, and create issues from those clashes and assign it back to relevant teams as necessary. So this is really, taking that initial files that have been uploaded into Autodesk Docs and sort of going to the next level. Okay. I'm just going to pause that video there. One of the most important features actually is the ability for users to visualize aggregated models from architects, MEP, and structural firms in one coordinated space. Okay, it grants them the tools to essentially link models together, saving them as views, which they can then recall at a later time. Okay, so they don't have to be a part of the design process in terms of building up the CAD files at all. Okay, they no longer have to rely on the design authoring team to perform these tasks for them. Okay, they can do it themselves, which is very, very important, because that's what often delays quite a lot of projects. Just around automatic clash detection, it also grants these non-authoring stakeholders the ability to participate in automatic clash detection to check newly published models and visualize clashes in a matrix where they can filter by models or saved views. They can use the clash matrix to drill down on specific clash issues, where they can raise issues that are assigned back to the design authoring team. Okay, and again, I'll show you a visual example of this fairly soon. The last thing I want to touch on, obviously, is coordination issues. The issue management is a key component to continuous collaboration. Now, obviously, with model coordination and the BIM Collaborate offering, there's no need to wait for the next coordination meeting to assign issues to project team members. You can easily tag clashes as issues, assign them to the appropriate stakeholder for resolution, and input a start date and due date. And again, yeah, let's show a live representation of this within the Autodesk Construction Cloud environment. Okay, so currently I'm on my docs. If I want to go to what's available in the BIM Collaborate offering, I would have access to docs, and I have access to something called model coordination. Okay, I have it up here already. Okay, so again, just to get here, you click on model coordination. You can see here all of the models which have been uploaded to Autodesk Docs by the different disciplines. Okay, again, let me show you a visual example of this. Under working here, we've got architecture, services, structure. They've all gone ahead, and I'm just gonna open that up so that you can see. They've gone ahead and they've, uploaded particular files. Those files are now available for a stakeholder to review. Okay, they can click on 1 and 2, like for example, architecture and structure, and hit the view button. Or if they want a more high-level overview, they can click on clashes over here. So if I hit clashes, you can see here that all of the models are being clash detected in real time. Okay, so any changes that have been made, it will automatically recognize. So you can see here it's a matrix that goes all the way across. And if I want to view any one in a bit more detail, so for example, LTU services coordination fire with LTU architecture coordination, I can click on this 69 button here, and it will go ahead and it will show me all of the clashes which are available. I can give this a different type of tolerance if I want. I can group it by object or by something a little bit more selective. And I can even change the primary models if I want to as well. So for example, if I take fire alarm and horn strobe, I can see here that there's an issue right there. Okay, if I'm like, yes, this is definitely an issue and I want someone to review this, I can check this little button and I can hit create issue. And if I hit create issue, I can then select a position. So I'm just scrolling across here and I can click on this little button here. Once I do so, over here, you can see it starts to create an issue. Depending on the size of the file, it may take, and the size of your internet may take a minute or two, but you can go ahead and create an issue from here. Okay, you can see that's just forming up now. See issue number 19. I can give it a description. I can assign it to a particular user or a role. Okay, I can give it some more information. I can give it a due date. I can give it a root cause. You can see here an image gets created as well. And once I hit the publish button and let's say the user has got certain settings on, they actually get an email notification saying someone's created a new issue and you need to take a look at it. Okay, you can also review an activity log to see if people are actually looking at your issues when it got created, things like that. So you can see all this is happening without me being part of the model authoring process at all, right? This is just me as a project reviewer, just checking out whatever's available in the cloud, which I find is really, really good. Okay, you can also, even here, you can use the measure tool. There is a first person view available as well, and there's even a properties palette available. Okay, and you can zoom out and you can check out other areas if you want as well. I can see here a big beam that's going across here, that column, I should say, that someone needs to take a look at as well. Okay, so that's a little bit on model coordination. If there are particular views that you're always finding that consultants want, you can actually click on this little views here. Okay, and they can actually create, you can actually create some views for them. Okay, that's actually done by going back to models, clicking on two different things, hitting view, and then saving it back into your views. All right, so you can see we've got one for struct and mech, and we've got one for structural and plumbing. Okay, you can have as many folder locations as you'd like that the model coordination can run on. Okay, what I mean by that is currently this automated clash detection system is running on the shared folder coordination space. Okay, what that means is if I go back to Autodesk Docs, do you see the shared folder here? Okay, what it's doing is all of the files that have been put in here is what this model coordination is clash detecting against. You can, if you'd like, hit manage coordination spaces, and you can choose other areas. For example, you can have architecture, under working architecture, be its own clash detection if you'd like. So there's no restrictions. You can create as many as you'd like. Typically, it is best practice to put it under shared, because this is the folder in which most of the design authoring users will be publishing their models. So it's quite easy to then clash detect on what's being published. Okay, and you can even create reportings as well and choose members, and settings is available, as you can see. Okay, so model coordination, perfect for your project reviewers and people who want to be part of the clash detection and clash, sort of making sure that the project itself is on track. Your typical BIM managers are usually involved in this quite heavily, or just external consultants that are there for expertise in a particular field. Okay, jump back into our webinar. The last offering available that's part of the AEC Collections design phase, not AEC Collections, excuse me, the Autodesk Construction Cloud AEC offerings within the design phase, is Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro. Okay, the main difference between BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro is the ability to participate in design collaboration. Okay, this offering is really only for your users who are part of the authoring process using CAD software like AutoCAD, Revit, and Civil 3D. Okay, I actually have another slide here that is a good visual representation of everything that we're talking about in an easy, digestible manner. Okay, basically, if you are a designer who is part of the authoring process, then you need Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro. Okay, if you're just a reviewer and someone who's part of the project but not part of the design authoring process, then perhaps either Autodesk Docs or Autodesk BIM Collaborate is right for you, depending on your role and how much involvement you want to have. Okay, Docs more for your document control and being part of the approval process, and Autodesk BIM Collaborate if you're more part of the clash detective process. Okay, and again, all of this is connected within the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Okay. Now, I want to touch on Revit Cloud work sharing because that is the biggest difference between all the suites available for the design phase. So a little bit of an overview. The way that it works is that the Revit models are first synced to the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. From there, the files are packaged and shared to other design teams. So this can include things like models and sheets, depending on what needs to be shared. Those other design teams can then view the contents of the shared data and then optionally consume them into their own design workflow. Okay, this process ensures that design files remain on the platform without needing to be consistently downloaded and uploaded. Okay, you can also have things like design changes and tracking, because that's not the only, because design coordination is not the only aspect that design reviewers need to monitor. So there is a project timeline available, which keeps everyone on the same page as the design changes throughout the course of the project. There are timeline symbols which indicate when packages are created from a design team and if they've been consumed by your design team. You can also review changes between model versions if necessary. Again, I will give a very short demo on this. We actually did a webinar recently called Revit and BIM Collaborate Pro, which is a bit of a deep dive into the workflow process. So I recommend you check that out if you want to know more information, particularly about this sort of workflow. Okay. One more thing I want to quickly touch on. There is also collaboration available for Civil 3D and Plant 3D with BIM Collaborate Pro. Okay, and it's all within the Autodesk Construction Cloud environment. We've actually, again, done a webinar on how Civil 3D integrates with Autodesk Construction Cloud and what you should use from a civil engineering perspective. I believe it was conducted by my colleague, Dean Peterson, and you can check that out on the A2K YouTube channel if you're interested in learning more about how Civil 3D works, particularly, within the BIM Collaborate Pro environment. All right, so let's give a bit of a demo as well for this workflow. What I might do here is I might actually just open up my Revit. Okay, and I'm going to put on my architect hat or my structural engineering hat, or any hat that's going to use Revit for a project like this, and I'll explain how you can envisage this workflow going. So I've got a Autodesk Revit basic sample project. I've got a couple of floor plans, 3D views, all that's available. What I would do is, if I had Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro, I would click on the Collaborate button here. I would click the Collaborate button here. Okay, and it will think about it for a little bit, and it will give me two options. How would you like to collaborate? Within your network or within BIM 360 document management? When it refers to BIM 360 document management, it is referring to the Autodesk Construction Cloud. It's just a naming thing that hopefully will get resolved fairly soon. I'm using Revit 2021 because I know most people are. So perhaps in Revit 2022, they would have already resolved that. So again, you would click on this little button here and you would hit OK. When you hit OK, this project here would get published back into your order. I'm just going to get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Into Autodesk Docs, into a folder of your choosing. So perhaps it would end up here. Okay. And as you go about your project, you would establish some publish settings. Okay. And how you would like to publish and what you're publishing. You can see here, publish everything or create your own set if you want to. And you would take those files and sheets and it would be placed automatically back in your Autodesk Docs. Once it gets placed here, what happens is it then becomes available in the module that is known as Design Collaboration. Okay, and I've got that open here, Design Collaboration. Okay, if I hit these three little dots, and if I hit the shared button, you'll see the little timeline symbols I was talking about, and we'll go to that in just a second. So you can see here the models and sheets and sets which are available, again coming from the authoring software. And what you can do then is you can hit this little plus icon here to create a new package. If I hit this little plus icon, me as the architect will have what's available for me. So I can perhaps hit my condo project if I wanted to. I can see it over here. I can choose a particular set if I want to share instead. But for example, for this example, we'll just choose a model. I've got my LTU architecture as well, which is available. Once I know what I want, I can hit this little box here and I can hit save. Once I hit save, it will save the package and then I can then share it. Okay. When I hit the share button, it will then be available. Okay. It will then be available for all the other teams to consume. So let's say, for example, I am a structure, I'm part of the structure team. Okay. I can see that in January, 13th, there was a package that was available. Okay, from the architecture team. I can then explore and see what are the changes that have been made. I can hit the compare button to compare between, the first time this model has been shared to the most current to see what the differences are. And then once I'm happy with it, I can hit the consume button. When I hit this consume button, these changes that are part of this file will automatically get updated back into my own Revit model, which I've linked to architecture. Okay, I really like this compare feature. So I've just done a basic demo for you and I have it here. So what I've done basically to give you an idea is hit the compare button, clicked on LTU architecture and clicked on, version 1 as compared to version 3. And I can see here there's about 10,000 changes that have happened between version 1 and version 3. Okay, I would then go ahead and hit show changes, which is what you see here. Okay, now I like this little section here a lot. It tells me what's been added, what's been modified, and what's been deleted. Let's say I want to see what's been deleted. I can uncheck these two and it'll show me only what's been deleted. So I can see here, if I click on this interior door, this is what's been deleted between the first model and the latest model. Okay, if I go to plumbing fixtures, this water cooler here has been deleted from the past version to the latest version. If I want to see what's been added, just uncheck this. And I can see here a new door got added over here. Okay, I highly recommend that if you are using these particular workflows that you always check what's being shared. And once you're happy, hit the consume button. If you want to know more information about what each of these design symbols mean, which is very important because it tells you if you've actually already consumed a package or not, you can check out Timeline Symbols Autodesk help page. Okay, I have a link for it within the webinar itself that you can check out. So you can see here, it gives you a description on each of the different symbols which are available. As you can see here that empty circle on another team's line represents a package that has been shared but not consumed by your team. Okay, and that's exactly what's happened in our instance. If we're, let's say we're part of structure and we're looking at architecture, this has not been consumed. Okay, similarly, a square represents a model uploaded to the team folder in document management, which is really good, right? Because, if I see a square here somewhere, which hopefully I don't, but let's say I see a square here, I can see here that on the 22nd of April 2021, a file got uploaded into that team folder, but then got shared on the on the same day. There you go, on the 4th of 22nd. So that gives you a good idea. You can see the entire project timeline underneath over here. Okay. You can also access the issues that have been created within design collaborations using clicking this little button here. Okay. You can check any settings if you like over here. And all of this connects back to Autodesk Docs. So again, if you have BIM Collaborate Pro, then you automatically get Autodesk Docs and model coordination included. If you have BIM Collaborate, you get Docs and model coordination. And if you only have Autodesk Docs, you just get access to this. Okay, and Docs is part of your AEC Collections. So if you have an AEC Collections license, you have Docs automatically. And so if you're not using Docs and you have AEC Collections, I highly recommend that you, if you're a client of ours, get in touch. If you're not, get in touch as well. But talk to whoever your provider is to give you more information. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. I've got here a separate section on resources. Okay, so Autodesk Construction Cloud guides. You can access this little link here from Autodesk. It has a couple of help articles available to you to gives you a good understanding of what we talked about today. If you want to know a bit more about the design collaboration timeline symbols, this is the link here. Okay, and that corresponds back to this timeline symbols page. Okay. All right. I'll just leave that up there just for another couple of seconds. Okay, perfect. All right. Questions. All right, now it's the time to now it's the time for you guys to ask as many questions as you'd like on what we've just talked about. Feel free if you want to hone in on anything in particular, or if it's just a bit more of a high level question. And yeah, I'll wait for about 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure we get everything answered. Okay, we have a question here from Dominic. Within BIM Docs, can you issue bound PDFs or only single drawings? You can. The bound PDFs is just depending on how you've uploaded into BIM, into the BIM Docs. So if you've used something like Bluebeam or something like that to bound your PDFs and then upload, then technically yes. But if you've only like done it through your like AutoCAD or your Revit and you've done individual sheets, then obviously the PDFs will be separate, right? So then that will be by single drawings only. So it all depends on how you've uploaded it, Dominic. Hopefully that helps answer your question. We've got a next one here from Joseph. How does this BIM Collaborate Pro system work with the review of AutoCAD plant 3D schedules generated from MART PNIDs? Yes, for that one, Joseph, we may have to, is it able to import schedules correctly by someone in the cloud? For that one, Joseph, we may have to go offline because there's a couple more things I need to ask you that will have to be more to do with your workflow to be able to answer that. So please send through your email address so that I can get in touch with you and get that question answered, please. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've copied that over, Joseph. So I'll send you an email afterwards. Okay, just wondering if there's any more. It doesn't look like it. Dominic, was that answer satisfactory, or did you want to know a little bit more information on what you've just asked there? Uh, Okay, cool. All right. It doesn't look like anyone else has any more questions. Well, we'll just sort of have that last slide there. Thank you so much for coming along and watching to my webinar. If you need any more information, obviously just contact us. Actually, no, sorry, we've got one last question. How does the software perform with files in the cloud? Do they run quick? How does the software perform with files in the cloud? Do they run quick? So it depends on your internet connection. So if your internet connection is very slow, like for example, if you use dial-up, then I can probably say that it's going to be a bit slow. But if you've got typical, business grade broadband, then you should be completely fine. It does, especially if you're using Google Chrome, it does create caches of the files that you open. So the next time you open up the same file, it's a bit quicker. So if the first time is a bit slow, I would recommend that you keep going, because the next time you open it up, it would have already created a cache, which will make the next time that you open the document a bit faster. Yeah, the file is definitely not downloaded to your computer, Josu. This seems good for collaboration between different disciplines, but what about getting team members working together from the same? Yes. What level of subscription do you need? Okay. Yeah. To answer your question, Raymond, it depends on what CAD software you're using and what level of collaboration you want within your internal team. Okay. Let's imagine a scenario here, Raymond. Let's say that you are a structural engineer or you're an architect and you work in something like Revit. Okay, you can actually use Autodesk Docs to do some live linking between disciplines in your own, between teams in your own, within your organization. You can just use Autodesk Docs. You can use Autodesk Docs to share files between each team members if you'd like, if you're not using something like Revit or Civil 3D. So it really just depends on what level you want. If it's just within your company, you can do a lot with just Autodesk Docs. Okay. If it's outside of your organization, then most likely you'll need BIM Collaborate Pro. Okay. So if you don't want to do clash detection in the cloud, but you do want to work, within your own team and not have any of your data be accessible to, anyone else, and it doesn't need to, then you can use Autodesk Docs. If you want to work within your team, but also want to do automatic clash detection in the cloud, then go for BIM Collaborate. Go with BIM Collaborate Pro if you want to start collaborating with external teams that are outside of your organization and you need to administer a proper BIM process, so that you're not giving away data that you shouldn't be. Does that help answer your question, Raymond? Okay, cool. With that, we will. Oh, sorry. We have another question. They're all coming in a little bit slow. I was after a solution where several people could work on the same Revit file. Yes. So Raymond, for that, if there's several people and they're within the same company and you don't mind doing live linking in Revit, then you can use Autodesk Docs. So if you want to know more about how to actually do that properly, just get in touch with us after this webinar and we can help you out a bit further. So if you have AEC Collections, you can do that, especially now with COVID and whatnot. If you guys are all working remotely, this is a very neat option instead of using the typical shared drive, tool, because you're just taking that shared drive and putting it up in the cloud, if that makes sense, and you can still collaborate. Awesome. All right. I think that concludes, the webinar. Yep, for sure. There's no more questions. All right. Again, yeah, thanks so much for sticking around for this webinar. Again, need more information, contact that email. And we'll be happy to help you out. Again, thanks so much.